Ladies and gentlemen, we've been trading sideways in this market for a long time. People are getting tired. And guys, I'm a pretty well-connected individual in the crypto space, so I've been gathering from numerous different sources the general market sentiment, and this is what they came back to me with.
Do something else! That's it! That's all we want! Do something else! Holy shit! Do something else! Holy shit! Jesus! God damn tap dancing Christ! Do something else!
Ladies and gentlemen, the market sentiment is we're all sick and tired of this sideways movement. We want this market to make a decision, because then if it goes lower, we can buy. If it goes lower, we can act. If it goes higher, we can watch and potentially take profits. But going sideways, this is a moment in time. This is when people drop like flies. When the crypto market's boring. That's when the bandwagoners leave. And that's when the strong stay. That's when we make the money. That's when we do our research. That's when the hardest work is done. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Guys, I had this on my Instagram story yesterday from Crypto Nagato. The current entire crypto market cap is nothing but a rounding error on the global balance sheet. No one has missed the boat yet. We haven't even finished building it. And that's so important to notice. Guys, I believe in a future crypto market where there is a $100 trillion market cap, and that may sound absurd to some. But to me, that seems only reasonable relative to all the documents and the infrastructure that's been built. All these price fluctuations now are not even a fart in the wind. They will barely be a blip in the grand scheme of things. We'll look back at these prices now and our emotional temperament like, damn, why did we even care about a 50% correction back in 2021? It's all about perspective. And in the long term, all of us will have been correct. Guys, there's plenty of news that broke yesterday that was extremely powerful. But let me give you all a friendly reminder of what's most important when it comes to XRP. The most important people on the planet. They're all on the board of directors for Ripple. They're all partnered with Ripple. Ripple appointed a former U.S. Treasurer to its board amid legal fight with the SEC, Rosie Rios. I know this is old news, but I'm bringing it up again for those who may not have known or have forgotten. Rosie Rios, a former U.S. Treasurer, would not have come to Ripple if she thought the SEC lawsuit was nonsense. If she thought there was real legal issues. If she thought her credibility would be on the line. Rosie Rios. I'm just going to let her speak for herself real quickly, because she is a powerhouse.
I'm the first person to be the chair of the Advanced Counterfeit Deterrence Steering Committee, which is the only formal collaborative that exists between Treasury, the Secret Service, and the Federal Reserve to provide recommendations to the Secretary on the future of currency.
So let me get this straight. XRP is looking to be the future of the financial system, the on-demand liquidity, the interoperability for all these central bank digital currencies. And Rosie Rios is quite literally the chair of an organization that connects the Fed, Treasury, and Secret Service to talk about the future of currencies. Get out of here. Get out of here with your FUD. Get out of here with your nonsense. It's written into the future of the financial system. XRP has been trialed for years in the background already. And in my personal opinion, we're in moon time. We're in price appreciation time. Where an SEC lawsuit is a distraction to get rid of retail before we take off and make life-changing wealth time. That's exactly where we are. And yesterday, we had Christine Lagarde shouting at the top of her lungs what the future of this financial system is going to be, how it's going to look. They stated we have decided to move up a gear and start the investigation phase of the digital euro. But guys, this is so misleading. This is absolute nonsense. The digital euro has been worked on in the background for years already, but now they're trying to portray it as if they're just starting. I think this is to dissuade people from being excited from CBDC adoption and XRP as the interoperability. They know that we know. They are watching the XRP community because we are the future wealthiest community of people on the planet, and that is powerful. The European Central Bank stated we have decided to launch a project to prepare for the possibility of issuing a digital euro. We will look at how a digital euro could be designed and distributed to everyone in the euro area. Our experimental work has already allowed us to identify possible ways to protect privacy. It has also shown that the energy needs of the infrastructure would be negligible compared with the energy consumption and environmental footprint of crypto assets like Bitcoin. Remember, XRP is 57,000 times more environmentally friendly than Bitcoin. That cannot be forgotten. A digital euro would be successful if it adds value for people, merchants, and financial intermediaries in the euro area. This is important that you all know. The digital euro has been talked about time and time again. And right here, the Central Bank of France a couple months ago stated in their document that XRP will be the basis for the digital euro. XRP was named explicitly in that document, and it's oh so important you guys know that it's written into the future. XRP will succeed. And this is a bigger document from the European Central Bank talking about the digital euro experimentation. Everything is being leaked right now for the grand rollout plan. I've been in this market for years and I have never felt like we were so close than we are right now. They're definitely ramping up efforts to bring on this technology. And hypothetically, let's say we do have some type of cyber crisis, like the World Economic Forum has been calling for. If that happens, I fully expect a problem, reaction, solution scenario to take place. Problem, cyber attack, new infrastructure is needed. Reaction, people are suffering. People want answers. People want a solution. With this XRP based with other cryptocurrencies holding hands to the finish line system. Interoperability is key. Numerous cryptos will be winners, but they must be compliant and they must have utility. They must serve a purpose. Think about that when investing in digital assets. The future is so bright for those cryptos that serve a purpose and have partnerships and connections. But July 28th, we may be seeing the most important, the most positive, and negative enforcement actions in crypto history. We see here from the Nasdaq.com that Elizabeth Warren has given the SEC until July 28th to figure out crypto regulation. Remember, Gary Gensler has said he's coming after exchanges. Tether clarity is possible as well. We need to see what happens. Let's see what happens with Bitcoin mining. Let's see what happens with this SEC Ripple lawsuit. So many things can come from this powerful date. Regulatory clarity is on the horizon. And something important to note, in my personal opinion, and keep an eye on, is decentralized exchanges. Because I personally believe decentralized exchanges will be having the hammer brought down on them. But this may be a catalyst for a wave of decentralized exchanges to be birthed and give the crypto ecosystem the room it needs to flourish. Let's wait and see what happens. but I'm excited to see some action finally happen. Remember how I started this video? We want this market to do something else. And we're about to do something else very soon in the weeks leading up to this date. This is so important that different congressmen and senators have their eye on this date as well. And laws are being passed / drafted. Get ready. Please listen to this brief clip.
It's not at all clear to me that the SEC has a role in regulating cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies are not securities, and the SEC regulates securities. So that's not at all clear to me that follows. And I'll be watching very, very closely to see what the SEC does.
All eyes are on July 28th for regulators to see what the SEC says. But in the meantime, this may be the rumor for the potential news that's coming. Tom Emmer. He stated he introduced the Securities Clarity Act with Darren Soto. This bipartisan innovation-friendly bill will provide regulatory certainty for digital currencies. Ladies and gentlemen, this is something that we've needed in the crypto space for a long time, and Tom Emmer has stated he is pro-Ripple in the past. They were talking about unreasonable approaches to crypto. We just heard that past clip where they stated they don't believe the SEC has jurisdiction over crypto. Here's my personal take. I believe the SEC is having a jurisdictional battle with other regulatory bodies over who gets to govern and regulate crypto. But in my opinion, I think some cryptos will turn into securities and currently are unregistered securities, while others will be cryptocurrencies, digital currencies, or commodities. I believe plenty of cryptos will be deemed commodities because their network is thoroughly decentralized. This is what's going to happen, and I believe the SEC will provide this type of clarity July 28th. We still have to see. We still have to see what they come up with. We know that regulations are slow, and we know the SEC has been very incompetent, but Gary Gensler is now in position. And let's see what Gary has to say. Let's see what the SEC has to say. But with all that being said, I have the chair of the CFTC to cap off this video for today, telling you exactly why the CFTC will have jurisdiction over something and why the SEC has jurisdiction over something. Then we'll have Christine Lagarde capping off the rest of this video, talking about why it's not Bitcoin that's the future, why there's plenty of bad use cases for crypto and Bitcoin is being tied to that. Well, we all know that Bitcoin's end-all be-all is not illicit activity. They're trying to do that to make a new king that's AML and KYC compliant, take over the crypto space, and I believe it's XRP because of Lagarde's ties to XRP. You don't have to believe it. It's still true. This is the Bearable Bull here, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Please watch this video the rest of the way through as it's so important. And I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
Issue has been investor protection. These ICOs, people are issuing these so-called, cryptocurrencies, assets, and they may be nothing more than fraudulent schemes. So those are the issues thus far. Jurisdiction. Here's how it works. If it is a commodity, it falls within the CFTC's jurisdiction. If it is a derivative on a commodity, then we regulate it and we also have enforcement authority. If it's just a commodity, we don't have necessarily regulatory authority, but we do have enforcement authority for fraud and manipulation. Because if you had fraud in a commodities market that was not on a futures exchange, it could nonetheless affect the stability of the futures market. So we have that bifurcated. That's the first technical thing. So we theoretically can go after cryptocurrency exchanges that are selling and related in the United States that are not registered CFTC exchanges and would not necessarily be required to register with the CFTC. But if there's fraud and manipulation occurring because it affects our markets, we theoretically have enforcement jurisdiction. SEC versus CFTC. Commodity versus a security. The commodity definition is very broad. So in fact, it's so broad that movie tickets are carved out of the definition of a commodity. And as a technical matter, a security is a commodity. But once it becomes a security, it gets kicked out of CFTC jurisdiction and is an SEC jurisdiction, except for a very technical area, which is if it's a securities future, then it comes back in, and we have joint jurisdiction. So the first question is really, whatever you have, whatever digital asset you have, is it a security? And there is a 4-part test that the SEC uses to determine it. I'm not going to go into it now. It's called the Howey test. But essentially, the difference boils down to effectively, are you investing in something that is sort of an asset, a store of value in and of itself? Or are you investing in something whose value is based on the efforts of others?
Okay.
So that's the way it works. It's much more complicated than that, but that's the big picture.
We don't have much time left, but I do need to ask you, there are so many potential bubbles, and one of those is Bitcoin, obviously. Are you worried about the Bitcoin bubble blowing up? And at what point does this need greater regulation?
First of all, I would observe that it is it's a speculative asset. By any account. I mean, when you look at the most recent developments upward and now the most recent downward trend, for those who had assumed that it might turn into a currency, terribly sorry, but this is an asset, and it's a highly speculative asset, which has conducted some funny business and some interesting and totally reprehensible money laundering activity. I think that there are criminal investigations that have taken place that I'm sure will continue to take place that demonstrate it very clearly. What I think is far more interesting, and there has to be regulations, and this has to be applied and agreed upon.
Could I press you on this? And how strict should this regulation be, and who should regulate the different parts of it? So data flows, including the important issue of data flows.
Well, it's a matter that needs to be agreed at a global level because, if there is an escape, that escape will be used. So I think it needs to be if anything, it shows that global cooperation, multilateral action is absolutely needed, whether it's initiated by the G7, moved into the G20 and then enlarged, but it's something that needs to be addressed. And FATF is clearly an organization that has expanded in that respect. Clearly, what we're seeing, which is in a completely different category, is the development of digital currencies, which is an area where we have begun doing a lot of work, where we have concluded actually yesterday a consultation of general public. And we had, believe it or not, we had the highest level of responses to that consultation about the digital euro.